People who work in livestock markets have the responsibility to handle sheep carefully and properly. They must remember the public is out there watching. You need to be thinking about what you're doing. What would it look like if it was posted online? It's everybody's responsibility to handle animals with good animal welfare because it's the right thing to do.
A well-trained handler will use their knowledge about how sheep naturally behave to help ease the process of relocating sheep from one facility to another. The loading and unloading of sheep should go much smoother on both the animals and handlers when handlers use natural behavior traits of the animals and follow some simple guidelines. Many managers have discovered the advantage of utilizing lead animals to more easily move the animals from place to place. Because sheep naturally want to follow other sheep, a well-trained lead sheep, or in some cases even a goat, can be used to show sheep where they need to go with little or no help. A trained lead animal can simply walk into the area containing the sheep to be moved and turn around and lead them to their destination. In most cases, the lead animals are provided with escape gates which allow them to return to their pen without taking the rest of the sheep with them. On occasion, a lead sheep or goat is not enough to keep the sheep moving. This is where other persuaders can be useful. Some of the common persuaders recommended for use include the rattle paddle, a feed sack, or flag that can be waved gently. Or if no other tool is available, a low-stress method for encouraging sheep to continue moving can be as simple as making big sweeping motions with or waving your hands and arms slowly in big circles from top to bottom around your body. Appropriate use of the rattle paddle begins with never using it to hit or swat at the animals. In fact, it's even recommended that you not touch the animals with the paddle at all. Instead, the paddle can be used to shake, and the rattling noise will encourage them to move away from it. It's important to provide sheep a surface that prevents slipping. There are a number of ramp designs that provide firmer footing on a slope. Notice the small raised ribs systematically placed along the entire length of the ramp where sheep descend from this truck into a holding area. Also, when constructing handling facilities, remember that steps designed for the animals to climb or step down should not exceed 3.5 inches. And remember, sheep will move toward an escape route, and they will move towards a more brightly illuminated area, provided it is not blinding light, such as looking into the sun. Block distractions outside the facility with solid fences. Some of the most common distractions are vehicles or extra people.
We got solid sides here, like on this outside perimeter. That's where it's really important to have solid sides, because we got a lot of equipment stuff out there that could cause blocking. We've also got the cameraman's shadow right here, which is not the best thing to have in the middle of the handling facility. Also right here, we've got going from dark to light. Some of the lambs, when they go across this shadow, they're gonna go like this and jump right at the shadow. You'll see the littlest thing sometimes will make them jump.
It's important to have a plan to evaluate the general health and soundness of sheep as they are being unloaded. At this point, it's fairly easy to determine if the animals have problems. Specifically, when unloading, here are some of the things you can make it a point to be looking for: locomotion and normal movement, body condition, injuries, ill animals. They may respond slower than others, walk with their head down, limp, or separate themselves from the group.
Sheep have wide-angle vision. They're a prey species animal, and their vision's designed so that when they're grazing, they can look all the way around for predators. They have wide-angle vision, unless they've got very long wool around the eyes, and they call that wool blind. Then the sheep is not going to have wide-angle vision. But if they're shorn, they can see all around. Where predator, on the other hand, has the eyes in the front of the head, eyes closer in the front of the head, so they can judge depth and go out and get their prey.
The reason sheep have a wide-angle vision is so they can easily scan their surroundings while they are grazing to see possible dangers. If handlers stay within the visual field, the sheep will move forward or at an angle. Wool-blind sheep, or sheep with long wool around the eyes, will have reduced wide-angle vision. Crowd gates close behind the sheep, as well as the sides of the barriers leading to the gate, should be solid, whereas gates in the direction sheep are moving should allow the sheep to see where they are moving.
The flight zone of an animal is kind of their personal space. If you have an animal that's been out on the plains, been out on pasture, very extensive, they'll have a huge flight zone. You just get, 50, 100 feet from them, they'll run away. Then you can have a completely tame 4-H lamb that you can stroke and pet and lead around. It has no flight zone at all. That one you need to lead with the feed bucket or with the lead sheep, or just lead with a halter. But most sheep, they're in the feed yard or they're out on a ranch, they're going to have some flight zone. And there's different factors that affect the size of the flight zone. And they are genetics. The genetically flightier animals will have a bigger flight zone. They are the amount of contact with people and the quality of that contact.
All sheep, regardless of breed, maintain a zone of comfort or security. If a handler enters the flight zone, the sheep will generally move away. This is the flight response. The size of the flight zone varies greatly between animals. Sheep that have been raised in a barn in close contact with people will have a smaller flight zone than range sheep, which seldom see people. The size of the enclosure in which the sheep are penned also affects flight zone size. Sheep confined in a narrow alley will have a smaller flight zone than sheep confined in a larger area. When sheep are handled in a confined area, pileups can occur if a handler enters the flight zone too deeply or tries to rush the sheep. Sheep will follow in an orderly manner if the leaders are moving. Being bitten by dogs is very stressful. Dogs should not be used in small pens. Dogs are recommended in open areas, in large pens, and in wide alleys where there is enough room for the sheep to move away. The use of solid sides in chutes and pens also will prevent sheep from seeing people. Solid sides should be used to encourage the movement of sheep in chutes, as well as loading ramps and crowding pens. Sheep will balk if they see objects hung over fences, reflections, contrasts, hoses in a walkway, or see vehicles. When designing facilities, it's important to consider space or square foot to sheep ratio, or density, as well as what the various uses of the pen will be. Sheep should be moved calmly and quietly about the market facility in a manner to avoid as much stress and injury to the animals as possible. Proper low-stress tools or techniques for moving and sorting sheep should be used. Special attention should be given to the walking surfaces in the alleyways, as slippery walking surfaces are a major contributing factor in livestock injuries in handling facilities. Alleyways and pens should be designed or modified to avoid slippage, sharp corners, or obstacles that could cause bruising or injury to the animals as they are moved about the facility. Gates should be hung correctly to open and close easily to avoid injury to animals and humans. Facilities must be kept in good repair. Broken boards and sharp edges should be removed. Gates shut behind sheep should not hit them. When a flock is moving, sometimes sheep will leap on each other. This will be much worse if too much pressure is used. No one wants to see animals injured, but on occasion accidents happen. Qualified personnel should determine the best course of action for treatment or euthanasia in the event an animal becomes hurt or non-ambulatory. If recovery is possible, the animal should be moved to a separate pen away from other animals to protect it against further injury. A non-ambulatory animal is an animal that is not able to walk. When moving a non-ambulatory animal, remember to use only non-ambulatory movement techniques. You cannot drag a conscious animal. They should be lifted onto a sled or into the bucket of a tractor with care. Then, one attendant should walk alongside the animal as it is transported to ensure it does not fall out. The recovery pen should have adequate feed and water available and be regularly monitored by market employees. If an animal fails to respond to treatment or is unlikely to become ambulatory, proper euthanasia should be administered immediately. The method of euthanasia chosen should produce a rapid and painless death and be safe for both humans and animals alike. There are 4 recommended techniques for administering safe and responsible euthanasia for sheep and goats. They include drugs that directly depress the central nervous system, such as anesthetics and barbiturates, and drugs that induce death by lack of oxygen. Gunshot or penetrating captive bolt gun. Electrical stunning, and regardless of what procedure is used, euthanasia should be carried out by a trained and qualified person. Livestock personnel should adhere to the euthanasia guidelines put out by the American Veterinary Medical Association.
My name is Wayne Cruz. I own Centennial Livestock Auction here at Fort Collins, Colorado. We've been here for 30-some years. We've been involved with LMA and Colorado LMA for years. I am past president of the LMA in Kansas City, and also have held offices with the Colorado Marketing Association. We feel that the safety of our people plus the safety of the animals and the low stress value to the animals is extremely important. We know you have to handle them real easy and soft, and we have a lot of experienced people.
Okay, the oldest papers are correct. The oldest papers are good. I see one's an RR. Are they 2 RRs in it?
Yeah, over the years we've learned to use different techniques in the movement of the animals, plus the how you sort them, how you move them. We have a lead goat brings them off a scale. If need be, we have lead goats that help load and unload. But it really works well. Of course, we converted our pens into areas where the LAs and stuff are pretty tight, where they can't see through them. Makes everything go easier. We believe that you need to keep your pens and your corrals, everything in good working condition. It's so important to have smooth corners. Our sorting alleys for our sheep and goats we have good working conditions. The gates swing good. The pens are clean. We clean pens every week. We keep fresh water, fresh hay for them. It's just important to keep things clean and neat, and it's for the betterment of the employees and the livestock.
I would like to review some of the main points in the video. Use following behavior. Sheep are great followers. Keep that flow moving. Remove distractions from facilities, things like a coat on a fence, a hose on the floor. Always make sure you have non-slip flooring. Proper, gentle use of driving aids. Never beat or hit animals with rattle paddles, flags, sticks, or any other driving aid. If you have an injured animal that cannot walk, you never drag it. And if it's seriously injured, you may have to euthanize it.